I'm here in Costa Rica at Rythmia Life Advancement Center. I have a doctorate in psychology and a master's degree in public health, and I manage the facility on the health policy side. I make sure this place is safe and appropriate for you to come and go through our program and participate in plant medicine combined with a lot of other modalities to help you achieve your goals. So one thing I was thinking about today to speak on is depression. There's a lot of depression right now in the world, and depression is caused by a lot of different things. There's like not one reason for depression. There's a ton of reasons. One of them is, you're not meeting the goals that you are hoping you would have by now in your life, or you've had some recent loss, or you're not happy in your job, or you're not happy in your marriage or in your relationships, or you have unresolved trauma. That could have been recent trauma, or it could have been from the military trauma, or it could have been from childhood trauma. Or you have a neurochemical imbalance related to dopamine. And there's all these different reasons. And sometimes there's more than one reason why. And you've sought out help, and you've gone to therapists, and you've gone to psychiatrists, and you've been prescribed meds, and you've been in therapy, and you've been in groups, and you might have even checked yourself into a psychiatric hospital for a few days or a few weeks to get stable. And you've had thoughts of suicidality, and you've also maybe turned to drugs and alcohol, or you're working too much and you're just workaholic and you're trying to avoid, your emotions, and you're kind of just pushing everything away. So why would what we're offering here in Costa Rica at Rythmia, why would that help you? Well, a big part of why is because I've seen almost 14,000 people come through this program since we've opened. And I've seen a lot of people through here that had depression, a lot of people that had all of those things I mentioned and other things that were causing depression. And what we see based on our follow-up with guests once they leave is that approximately 85% of the people who reported having depression and that were medicated for depression prior to coming to Rythmia, about 85% of those people reported saying that they no longer need their medication, that they're no longer in the dark place that they were, that their mood has dramatically improved, and that they are happy in their life. So that is a huge success rate on depression that can be realized by going through our program. Now, what does it mean to heal depression? Like, how do you do that? Well, you probably believe, if you're depressed, that you don't deserve to be happy. You probably believe that you're not lovable, or that, you're a failure. You probably have certain beliefs that are rooted in a lot of things that have happened for you in your life that have led you to believe these things. Now, those self-beliefs are ridiculous because they're not true, but it's what you believe. So how do we get past that? How do we actually heal that self-belief system? Well, what ayahuasca does in the brain when you drink it is it slows down, in a way, your default mode network of your brain, which are various regions of the brain that have to do with your own self-perception. So if you feel that you're not a good person or you don't deserve to be happy, that part of the rumination of negativity slows down. And then through the beta-carboline plant-based alkaloids that the vine component of ayahuasca has, which is harmine, harmaline, and tetrahydroharmine, those monoamine oxidase inhibitors allow for the absorption of dimethyltryptamine, which is the active ingredient in ayahuasca, which then allows for visualization, memories, and emotional release. And what that means is if I feel that I'm not a good person, I don't deserve to be happy, usually that's rooted in childhood from a belief or an experience that I had as a kid. And I'm able to go back to that time in my vision or in my dream or in my sort of ayahuasca experience. And I'm able to see at age 5 that I was maybe neglected as a kid because my parents, let's say, were very busy working or taking care of other kids or trying to make ends meet. And I felt at age 4 or 5 that I was maybe not important or that my parents didn't love me. And then what would a kid think at that age? Well, a kid would think, well, I must be not worth loving because my parents aren't able to give me this love that I think that I need at the time. And so memories will surface about that. And then you'll see a new perspective. You'll see, wow, my parents were very young when they had me, and I was 4 or 5, and I thought this, and I see there's things that as an adult, I'm looking at it now in a different way. And I see that it wasn't my fault. And I see that my parents are amazing, and they just did their best. And then there's an emotional release that occurs from the amygdala connecting with the prefrontal cortex part of the brain. And that's where the synaptic plasticity of neurochemical response and neuron pathways are adjusted to then reform the way you feel about yourself. And you see that you do deserve to be happy. You do deserve to be loved, that you are a good person. And then by the time that the ayahuasca session is winding down at the end of the night, the default mode network is back on, and that rumination loop of negativity has left you, and you feel amazing, and you don't feel this oppressive self sort of detrimental vibe, and you can move on with your life, and you don't go back to your meds. Most people don't. And you don't go back to the same old negative patterns that you had before, because now you have a lot of new insight into yourself and a lot of new goals and new tools that we give you. So we give you a lot of tools to use that help you stay on track. This isn't a magic bullet. This isn't a thing you just take and all of a sudden you're fixed. You have to be involved in it. You have to be active participant in your own process. And that's what the work is. And that's why this is so effective, because you're the one that does this work, and you're the one that has these breakthroughs. We just create the setting for it, the safety for it, and the context for it, and we help guide you in the right direction. We provide this bed of safety that allows you to go deep and to be vulnerable in ways that are healthy. So if you're depressed, if you've tried everything, none of it's worked, get down to Rythmia. Call our intake department. Let's get you on track, and we'll fix this issue. Okay? You're going to do it. I know you can. Thanks for listening. See you next week, and I hope to see you soon down here in Costa Rica. Pura vida.